We have estimated in excess of 100 vehicles were involved in the accident.
We start tonight with this horrific scene.
You just sit there and just wait. We're gonna get hit next. We're gonna get hit next.
Drivers telling us what happened.
I can just see white. That's it. You can't see.
The wait for help as law enforcement rush to respond.
We sat out there for a good hour and a half, just waiting.
From WBAY TV, coverage you can count on. Action 2 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thanks for staying up late with us tonight. Let's get right into the story we have been telling you about all day long, the massive chain reaction accident on I-41 this afternoon. Listen to that wind and look at these conditions. This is what it looked like for drivers out on the highway, complete whiteout conditions and strong winds. This is actually soon to be video from one of our DOT sky cams, and it shows you just how windy it was out there for drivers this afternoon. The lack of visibility you see here is what authorities say led to this tragedy. 1 person dead, more than 70 taken to nearby hospitals where 5 remain tonight, while others left stranded on the side of the road were housed at local businesses before being bused to a church acting as a warming shelter. At this time tonight, all families have been reunited. Meanwhile, about 131 vehicles were left along the interstate involved in the massive pileup, leaving more than 500 vehicles behind it that had to be rerouted. It happened on Highway 41 southbound in the area of County Road G in Winnebago County. Authorities say they spent all afternoon removing vehicles. Because of the amount, they had to use 2 different impound lots.
Today's weather taxed the capacity of EMS providers and first responders. Between 11:05 a.m. and 6:30 p.m., we received 772 911 calls, resulting in 108 calls for service.
In our top story tonight, Tia Johnson spoke with drivers who survived those 911 calls.
One by one.
Oh my God.
Here shown in this video, cars piled up on Highway 41.
My mom was driving and just all of a sudden she was like, Ryan. You could just hear the crashes from all around us, and then we just kind of were able to pull to the side a little bit.
While drivers like Ryan were able to escape a 100-car pileup, others like Phoenix weren't so lucky.
We ran into blowing snow, and then next thing we know there were cars piled up, and then we smashed right into it.
Phoenix says she's lucky she got to walk away.
We ran into a white SUV, and then somebody else ran into us, and we hit the side on my fiance's side.
Deputies say whiteout conditions are to blame.
Up on scene, that was the worst conditions I've ever seen.
Ryan describing the pileup like nothing she's seen or experienced before.
A truck came up next to us and we thought, you just sit there and just wait. We're just like, okay, we're gonna get hit next. We're gonna get hit next.
In Winnebago County, Tia Johnson, Action 2 News.
And that crash was just one of many happening across northeast Wisconsin today. A crash on I-41 northbound caused the highway to be shut down for a few hours early this afternoon. Also, I-43 southbound was closed in Brown County this afternoon due to multiple slide-offs and crashes. It was very dangerous for law enforcement as well. The Fond du Lac and Sheboygan Sheriff's Office both shared these photos where their squad cars were hit while helping other crashes. Law enforcement is pleading drivers to slow down near emergency scenes. They also add that while roads may look clear, there could still be icy conditions, so don't go driving unless you absolutely have to. While the roads may still be dangerous on our Weather Aware Day, the weather is starting to die down tonight. Here's Storm Center 2 meteorologist David Ernst with an update. David.
Winds at least aren't as strong as they were, and we had gusts upwards of 55, 60 miles per hour in some of the areas. In fact, Green Bay and Sheboygan topping out with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Appleton, we were still at 51 miles an hour. Oshkosh, 48, so fairly common, 45 to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts blowing all that snow around. The wind, like I said, not quite as strong right now, but even just over the last hour, We've still generally been in the 35 to 45 mile per hour range across northeastern Wisconsin, so blowing and drifting snow will still be an issue. With that in mind, a winter weather advisory is in effect for much of northeastern Wisconsin. Wind chill advisories across southern and central parts of the state. Wind chills will be down around -20 to -30 overnight tonight, and we'll still be worried about blowing and drifting snow around northeastern Wisconsin. There could be times where the road looks like it is in crystal clear shape, and then all of a sudden you get into one of those snow drifts and traction is lost and visibility drops. But at least we don't have any falling snow right now. In fact, there is some clearing taking shape across the area. Temperatures right now are single digits to around 15, but we're dropping below 0 tonight. We'll talk more about some dangerously cold wind chills tomorrow morning coming up.
A little bit after I was in my recovery room, I coded out. They had to bring me back.
A harrowing story from a Manitowoc County man now recovering after open heart surgery, and he wasn't the only one in the family. You probably heard the tales of twins saying they can feel each other's pain or know what the other is thinking, but actually experiencing the same symptoms for the same health problems at the same time, it's rare. But in a story you'll only see on Action 2 News, Sarah Thompson shows us the twins who are living proof it can happen.
To save the lives of Peter and Paul. Not them, I mean the Rutherford twins, are extraordinary would barely begin to describe them. It's been that way since birth, 54 years ago. First came Peter. 3 minutes later,
She didn't know there was another one in there.
along came a big surprise, his identical twin Paul.
I think I was maybe 3 pounds something, and he was maybe almost 6. I was like Arnold and you were Danny DeVito.
Side by side, you can probably tell them apart, but separated, good luck.
Daily, weekly, people think I'm him, and
People come up to me, start talking. It's like, I have no clue who you are.
From the same clothes to the same haircuts.
Cut my hair yesterday, and it was white Jesus.
To the same sense of humor.
that's me, the good-looking one, Peter, the ugly one.
They do everything together, but Peter pointing out he is first, always. Last June, he was the first to head to the hospital, not feeling well and a little worried since heart disease runs in the family.
They scheduled a stress test. I failed that.
Doctors at Aurora Baycare soon determined he'd need open heart surgery for 3 blocked arteries.
A couple were over 70 or 80, and one was closer to 90, I think.
Right there is narrowing.
Aurora Baycare cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Alexander Roydstein began triple bypass surgery. With Peter still in the operating room, Paul took his kids shopping for a get well present.
I remember walking around, and my chest started hurting a little bit then, and I'm like, wow, this hurts. But I didn't say nothing to anybody.
But by the next day, the pain was too much, and he headed to the hospital.
Within an hour, maybe a little more, they told me, yes, you had a heart attack. Gave me some drugs and took an ambulance ride to the Green Bay Hospital.
Paul ended up in a room down the hall from his brother, giving Dr. Roydstein deja vu with another open heart triple bypass surgery. He says it makes sense for heart disease to strike at the same time since these two are genetic mirrors of each other.
They had very similar anatomy. They had almost identical operations.
But identical twins with nearly identical problems hours apart? Dr. Roydstein has never seen that.
It's definitely one of those 1 or 2 in a lifetime.
With the same birth dates, initials, and diagnosis, the hospital had to be careful not to confuse the two.
It's kind of odd for me because I just sort of thought about what a mom must be like.
There's been stories of other twins having it months or years apart, and they thought that was something. We both heard that and went, ha. We said, hold our beer or something like that.
Like other twins, Peter and Paul say each has felt the other's pain, but never like this.
He did not have to follow me in this, really.
Maybe I was having sympathy pains, but maybe if he didn't have it, I wouldn't have had it either. But
so you're blaming him?
Yeah.
Healthy now, they can all share plenty of laughs.
I'm not giving them discounts. No frequent flyers.
The whole ordeal has only strengthened their bond. Both are now focused on eating healthier, enjoying quality time together in the woods, and giving thanks their family tree is rooted in identical happy endings.
I'm just glad he's still here.
Sarah Thompson, Action 2 News, Francis Creek.
Earlier today, a group of veterans left on a once-in-a-lifetime honor flight. How this group is traveling to the country they fought in and how you can celebrate their return.
This means to our family healing.
52 veterans are returning to Vietnam for a one-of-a-kind Old Glory Honor Flight trip. Their journey started this morning in Menasha. In our Return to Vietnam coverage, Katie Anderson spoke to veterans and their family members about what this trip means for them.
For the Vietnam veterans, this is their welcome home. This is our thank you to them.
Family, friends, and fellow veterans gathered to give a proper farewell to Vietnam veterans as they make the first leg of their journey back to Vietnam.
It means the world to us. I can't even summarize how much it means to our family to have our father get selected to go on this trip.
Don Putsky is one of many family members wishing loved ones goodbye. She says her family's ties to the military is why she also decided to serve her country.
With my father being a veteran, my grandfather's being a veteran, my uncle being a veteran, it was a positive choice to go in and serve our country in their footsteps.
We hope to bring some good stuff back about Vietnam.
Terry Tyrion served in the 1st Cavalry Division in Vietnam. While on this trip, he hopes to honor other veterans who never made it home.
One of the things I really want to do is get up in the Central Highlands where I was kind of stationed there and say a prayer for the almighty people that made the ultimate sacrifice and thank them for that.
The veterans will be in Vietnam for the next 2 weeks sightseeing, followed by a proper welcome home celebration when they return.
It's important to put the thank you out there for those who served, not myself, but for my family, for the people that have gone before us, the generations of what they've gone through.
In Menasha, Katie Anderson, Action 2 News.
Our own Jeff Alexander has the honor of traveling with the veterans on their 2-week journey back to Vietnam. He'll have exclusive Return to Vietnam reports every night on Action 2 News at 10, beginning this coming Monday night. Also, if you are interested in welcoming the veterans home, you are invited to a celebration of all Vietnam veterans. The Welcome Home ceremony will be held on Saturday, March 9th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Menasha High School Field House. The event is free of charge for anyone who would like to attend. Still ahead tonight, what advice a former Republican governor is giving to Wisconsin's current Democratic governor, and what Governor Evers has to say about the possibility of toll roads being built in the Badger State.
As expected, some very heavy snowfall over the last.
Welcome back. Governor Tony Evers seeks solutions to Wisconsin's challenges in the nation's capital, including how to fix the state's crumbling roads. The governor is in Washington, D.C. for the National Governors Association winter meetings. He says Wisconsin needs to find more revenue to spend on roads with or without federal government help. When asked about Wisconsin possibly looking into implementing toll roads to help pay for roads, the governor says it's still an option.
That's part of the conversation, there's no question, but that's not something that's going to happen immediately. We need an immediate infusion of revenue, and so if tolling is part of the conversation, it's certainly years down the road.
Evers also says President Donald Trump wants a solid transportation infrastructure bill with input from governors on both sides. Former Republican Governor Tommy Thompson is predicting there will be pushing and shoving in the process for Democratic Governor Tony Evers. Thompson was on Upfront this morning right here on WBAY. Thompson faced a Democratic-controlled legislature in 12 of his 14 years in office and says his first budget was a lot of fighting. While the former governor says Evers should have plenty of vetoes, both sides need to work together.
Doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take time. You got to build trust. You got to be able to show the other side that you actually listen to them and that you can go part way to meet them.
Evers will present his first biennial budget on Thursday. Then the Republican-led Joint Committee on Finance will work on it.